west side that poses some very unique problems, giving its particular designation and the realities of the surrounding area that do not support that designation. Urban growth management does not mandate that you have to cover every last bare spot of dirt with housing. It requires that you have to plan for and implement growth in an effective, orderly, and most importantly, sustainable manner. To borrow a sentiment I heard a couple of nights ago, a plan is only as good as its enforcement. Only I would like to slightly rephrase that a little. And a plan is only as good as its implementation and enforcement. My impression of the previous comp plan is that it was a collection of very nice goals and policies, but in many instances, land use regulation and municipal codes did not support those local goals and policies. And on some occasions, the day-to-day and week-to-week business conducted by the city did not support either the comp plan goals or the municipal code requirements. And I think that going forward, that is the real challenge of this particular cycle of comp plan update, is getting the supporting regulations and the business actions of the city to support the goals and visions embodied by the comp plan. As always, thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Gatewood. Any questions for Mr. Gatewood? And thank you for your letter for the record this evening. Thank you. Next on the list is Walt Jorgensen. Mr. Jorgensen?
Oh, my God.
And then after Walt's going to be Mary Kocher, and then I have Troy Bussey. So I've got two other listed, and then if you didn't get a chance to sign it and would still like to address the commission, you'll be after Mr. Bussey. Mr. Jorgensen has a video. Is that right? Is that thing?
Well, we'll see.
I know you and Amy have been tackling it a little bit here. So.
Good luck.
Oh, I said don't. Turn it off. Even though it's
Okay, well, this is just filler then, I guess. My name is Walt Jorgensen, and I live in Tumwater, on the Tumwater side of North Street at 823. That's almost home view. The comprehensive plan has elements that affect all parts of the city. Many of them are directed to the downtown area, which includes the peninsula and the isthmus. I suspect that many of you, like me, those of you that are left, are visual animals and are always asking, so what would it look like? And so it is, in trying to envision different configurations of the downtown, trying to conjure up the changes to the downtown cityscape from setbacks and heights just doesn't work for me. So I poked around online, as we do for so many things, discovering many ways to depict architectural alternatives, and finally connecting with a regional firm, Bethune Architects and Planners, with offices in San Francisco and on Alaskan Way in Seattle. They provided a short, somewhat generic example of the kind of modeling that could be used to analyze and present proposed changes that could be used and the effect of the differential level of build-out. So as I say, I or Amy attempts to initiate the short video, I want to lavish thanks on Amy, because without Amy, no video. Let's give this a try.
Yeah, folks may want to move over to the other side of the seat so you can see the screen.
Lights, please.
Mr. Stan with the lights.
No. As I said, the capabilities of this particular modeling technology go well beyond just silhouetting buildings, but even that would be an exciting new plateau for now. The digital model, which you're looking at, gives precise city image that's flexible and can be quickly edited and built upon existing city GIS assets, expanding over time from a variety of sources and easily visualized. This model allows you to analyze any aspect of design planning, for instance, to see skyline views, tall buildings casting shade on other buildings, or tall buildings blocking vistas. It also allows you to separate systems or elements of the city infrastructure, like bike systems connecting schools and housing, underground creeks under the sidewalks for salmon travel, and green corridors for pedestrians. I didn't time this. I know it lasted about 1 minute and 38 seconds.
Good job, team.
Now, I've got a couple of minutes left. If there are any questions, certainly can entertain those, or you could talk among yourselves. Well, I will take advantage of the closing opportunity this Friday to submit written comments at 5 p.m. Everyone else might note that too. I want to just touch on a couple of other topics here tonight. The first is trees. I established the Townwater Tree Board almost 20 years ago now, and have been very concerned about trees before and after that. I would say let's first accept the gifts that trees give us. They move water back into the air through, and I got a couple of words there, I should try and over 5 syllables, but evapotranspiration, and they keep carbon out of the air by sequestration. Lately, I've heard them referred to as natural infrastructure, certainly more natural than retention ponds. But the other topic I want to just touch on is the Port of Olympia, more accurately the Port of Thurston. Please keep ever in mind through your deliberations that the port is a junior taxing authority. And though the legislature has given them some latitude to pursue economic development, the Port of Olympia does not have land use authority. The city of Olympia does. And it's the city's purview to determine zoning and other development regulations. Other than direct marine related activities, the port should be treated like any other developer. And now, perhaps back to modeling, if there's any questions about that or anything else.
Any questions, commissioners? I have one, but I'll let other commissioners go first. Any commissioners? Mr. Perkins? The M2U modeling program, are there any cost estimates in the sense of, this was raised certainly as part of the SMP, the ability to visualize what would it look like, you know, when we went through the master program and then now the comprehensive plan, as you brought up. And I just been personally trying to grapple what would it cost to bring a consultant or that kind of a program? Do you have any idea about?
I've got a very short answer. No. I don't. This was obviously a gratis depiction of some generic capabilities, and in a letter from them that certainly are standing ready to find out what we'd like to do next. And that simply could be some more examples, but also that was one of the first questions that came to my mind is, well, if I find something I like, what might it cost me?
Well, I appreciate your honesty and definitely for bringing that to us. It's even late in the evening, I tried not to get, it was moving pretty fast, but just seeing how they plunked in the treescapes or just the building form itself. So thank you.
We'll probably find out later that we're going to slow it down.
commissioners any questions for Mr. Jorgensen, and we look forward to your letter being submitted by Friday. Thank you.
Okay, and again, I want to really emphasize, thank you very much, Amy. She proved the value of persistence. We didn't really know exactly what the answer was, and while she was trying to get ready for all of the rest of you here tonight, she kept coming back up here, trying something new, some new computer, and it finally worked.
Thank you, Amy. Next on the list is Mary Kocher. Is Mary still here? Troy Bessie.
Good evening. My name is Troy Bessie. I'm a professional environmental engineer, and I've lived in Olympia for 12 years. I don't really have scripted comments. I came decided just last minute to come down, and I guess I'm the last person tonight since I came in late. Anyway, I really wanted to just spend a few minutes telling you my personal opinions. I want to focus really on two issues. One is downtown Olympia, and the second is urban sprawl. And I think those two things, I'm looking at a big picture of what is most important about the comprehensive plan as being obviously a Growth Management Act requirement, and my personal observations about those two subjects in this area. It's maybe a little bit unpopular, but for me, for a lot of people I know, downtown Olympia is essentially dead. There are obviously many institutions that we support and things that we like about it, but for myself and many other people I know, downtown Olympia is on a dying path. Secondly, as far as urban sprawl is concerned, I personally think Thurston County and the region is sprawling incredibly. I think maybe many of you may agree. If you don't, perhaps you should head out to the outskirts of Lacey and Yelm and some other places in the county and see where things are sprawling in this region. I personally think that that's, in my opinion, the problem. I think one of the main solutions that we can do, and I think one of the fundamental elements that the comprehensive plan should address, is increasing density downtown and increasing market rate housing. Now, obviously, there are goals in the comprehensive plan to do those things. Those goals were in the past plan. The problem is, since the last plan was approved almost 20 years ago, there's been almost no market rate housing built downtown and almost no density increases downtown. In fact, almost every proposal to increase density gets a lot of public opposition, and what we're ending up getting is less and less density downtown. And I just personally think that's the wrong way to go. And I think that having a goal to increase density, to increase market rate housing downtown is great, but I think we need to do even more, have the comprehensive plan have even more incentives, even more emphasis on those goals above all of the others. I mean, there's obviously a lot of interesting ideas and goals and plans in the comprehensive plan. We've heard some of those tonight, but I think those just detract from what I think is, again, what should be the main goals of increasing density downtown and increasing market rate housing. Because in my mind, those are the only things that can decrease urban sprawl in the long run and solve many of the problems that people are concerned about. That's one thing. So it's increasing emphasis on those two elements. I think worse is that the comprehensive plan has many elements in it that are going to decrease density, decrease market rate housing opportunities downtown. Not only is there not more incentives, but there's a lot of roadblocks, it appears, in the comprehensive plan and other things that are happening in the planning process to discourage density, to decrease density, and decrease market rate housing opportunities. Two examples that I'll throw out. I know we're not supposed to talk about the shorelines issues, but that would be one particular thing with rezoning shorelines downtown. That's, in my opinion, have a significant impact on to decrease density, decrease market rate housing opportunities. The second one, which was brought up here recently, was on the view corridors and having some general, vague, and pretty comprehensive language about protecting views. And I think that could work against the city of Olympia to, again, decrease and end up decreasing density and decreasing market rate housing opportunities. That's really all I want to say. Thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for serving, and good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Bessie. Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Reddick?
Do you have any thoughts on the high-density corridors east, like Martin Way and going out Harrison?
I personally, my personal opinion is that density in the urban areas is great. I think we should focus, my personal opinion is to focus first on downtown, but then increase corridors as well, because that's going to increase help for transportation and, you know, a variety, you know, build quality of life and a lot of other things. But again, it would seem to me that to focus on urban corridors first before you get to downtown seems to kind of have the cart before the horse a little bit, personally.
Commissioner Levine?
Can you just connect the dots for us a little bit more about your concerns about, pardon me if I'm putting words in your mouth, vague view corridor language, and your concern that that will either result in decreased downtown density or lack of
Sure. And I don't have in front of me to quote it, but is there somewhere like 10 to 15 different views that are listed as desirable to be protecting the view of this, so, you know, Mount Rainier from this area or Capitol from this area, and those kinds of things. And I think that can be interpreted to mean basically no development that's going to block views. You know, obviously, that, as everyone knows, that was an issue with the isthmus. And I think that having that in the comprehensive plan is going to allow people, you know, as somebody else said earlier, you can read anything you want in the comprehensive plan. There's enough different ideas and concepts that you can read into what you want. I think people can use the comprehensive plan and those view corridor goals to say, no, we don't want that here because that's blocking such and such a view or blocking, you know, some other kind of view. That's what I have in mind. Is that, no?
well, I think that helps a little bit, and as mentioned before, if you want to add any specificity in written testimony, you can.
Sure.
It's a Friday,
Commissioner Parker?
Two questions. Would the simulation that was displayed by the previous speaker address some of those view concerns you have by being able to make it graphic where the conflicts might be?
I guess, just this is my own personal opinion, but for me, increasing density, increasing market rate housing is much more important than views, because I think that's going to lead to a more sustainable, from an environmental perspective as well as an economic perspective. It's going to make our city more sustainable. And so, for me, the views is not something that's very important. For me, it's about density, market rate housing.
Second question, what are the incentives? Do you have any specific suggestions?
I'd have to probably think about that. I mean, I probably would. I don't necessarily have anything I want to say off the cuff. But I think that, I guess all I'm saying as an engineer, I look at what's the empirical data. The empirical data is, in the last 20 years, we've had very little market rate housing. If that is really something we want to do, and something that, and I think that, you know, I think most people would agree that's an important element. We have to look at the data and say, it's not happening. What are we doing wrong? What do we need to do better? And I think there would be a lot of different ideas that people might have to make it better.
Commissioner Reddick?
When you talk about the downtown, what area are you really considering?
Well, I think, you know, if you look at, downtown is the cultural, social, economic center of town, and I don't know if the comprehensive plan has it, but there's things out there that define the downtown as being, Capitol Lake over to, was it Plum or East Side Street on up to the Capitol and out to the Port Peninsula. And I think most people would kind of say that's the downtown. I may have the boundaries not exactly right, but I would say that's the downtown. That's what, in my opinion, we should focus on first, and then as that becomes more dense, then those urban corridors, that makes sense to increase the density there.
So like East Side Street coming this way, and then where the budget and Avis dealer at, and metal dealers in that area, would you consider that downtown?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not sure what that's on.
Well, it's the corner of Plum and
Yeah, absolutely.
So Plum and Legion,
Right.
even where the Shell station is and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's sort of the edges, in my opinion, or at least that's the city's defined it, but yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Bussey? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And again, any written testimony, certainly by Friday at 5. Mr. Bussey is the last person to sign up. Is there anybody who hasn't had a chance to address the commission? All right. That being the case, and I just want to, for the record, that the public hearing this evening was notified for tonight, and should there have been more people wishing to testify past 9:30, we had the opportunity to continue the hearing until Thursday, July 26th. So at this point, since I've asked if there's any other folks to present oral testimony and none have stated so, I'm going to go ahead and close the oral portion of this public hearing. As indicated on the public notice, written testimony to the Planning Commission is allowed to be submitted by 5 p.m. on Friday, July 27th. So any documents that haven't already been submitted or that you'd like to submit, please go ahead and do so Friday by 5 p.m. Essentially what's going to happen, everything that we've received here in the last 3 days and even prior to that that's been provided to the city will be copied, PDF'd. The commission will receive a full packet over the weekend and then begin the continuance of its work plan. I want to thank everybody being here for the public hearing. And again, as I said, Monday night, this really is just the beginning of our public process in the sense of the formal review. Commissioners, it's 9:30. I did add an agenda item, and I see Mr. Stam coming up to the dais. I had asked, and I think it's probably, hopefully very helpful. Okay, we're back, a 5-minute break. We might go past 10 p.m., so I'm just asking for our commissioners willing to stay. We've got Mr. Stam talking. I think we have a discussion about our August 1st. Oh, okay. It might go back up. Item number 4. So I'm just saying if we wanted to tackle item number 4, probably could last past 10 p.m. maybe not. But let's go ahead. I will 5-minute break.